is the Run Your Day podcast with Dan Hafner.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Run Your Day podcast. As always, your host, Dan Hafner here. It's good to be back. I am joined with a very special guest today. Her name is Kelli Calabrese. Calabrese, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I didn't know if it was Kelli Calabrese or Calabrese.
If we were in Italy, it would be.
Calabrese, yes.
Let's go to Rome.
Let's. So anyway, I'm joined by Kelli Calabrese. She, for the past 34 years, my friends, has been in the fitness, nutrition, and wellness lifestyle space. She's appeared on a ton of major networks. She's a 3-time best-selling author, and has 3 science degrees and 27 certifications, all from nutrition to medical exercise. And she's even a certified divorce coach. So Kelli has an extensive amount of experience. We're going to try to condense this into a 30-minute interview. But welcome to the show, Kelli. How are you?
Thanks so much, and I'm awesome, and I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, in addition to what I just said to everyone, why don't we just give you the floor, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, I am from the Northeast, so New York, New Jersey. Went to school in Pennsylvania, where you are. Love the Northeast, but I live in Dallas and knew really early on what I wanted to do. Actually, I was 13 when I said I want to be an exercise therapist, and really have had a fun career. I owned and operated health clubs. I managed corporate fitness centers. I founded a school. Opened up fitness boot camps in 9 countries. I was an executive with a nutrition company. I mean, I've done some really, really, really fun things. I've got 2 amazing college-age kids. They're collegiate athletes, so it's a fun season to be able to watch them do their thing.
Wow. You said you've opened, what have you done in 9 countries? Opened up schools?
Fitness boot camps. I had a school. Yeah, I did founded a school that prepared over 3,000 people to become certified fitness pros. When I first started, personal training was really new. So there were no personal trainers. So I had to start a school to prepare them to pass the certifying exams.
Wow. And 3,000 went through that?
Yeah. In 9 years, I had 3,000 candidates and 95% passed the exams.
Wow. Good for you. What a Energizer bunny over here. Like this is awesome. Awesome. Okay. So, I was just kind of reviewing your profile online here, and I mean, it looks like you talk a lot about like this whole life wellness concept, right? Can you just explain that, like 30,000 foot view for us?
Yeah. So when I first started training, I got certified. I had to wait until I was 17. But back then, the people who trained, they were, doctors, lawyers, they were professionals. So I remember training an attorney, and he was like, he'd walk in the room and you could feel like the anger, like he was so intense. And after a while working with me, he'd start coming in going, yeah, you know what, at work, they're saying I'm nicer, and I think my kids like me better. And so I started to realize if I can help people with their physical body, like there was a mental and emotional connection that came with that. So I really started studying, mindset and how do we get people to really make change, not just on the environmental surface level, exercising an hour a couple times a week, but go deeper into the mind. So I studied the mind a lot. And when you get to the end of the mind and you get to that quantum level, what's left is the spiritual. So that is all connected. And you can't really separate the body, the mind, and the spirit. So when you take that 3-pronged approach, your chances of success are so much better than if you just try to, muscle your way into the gym and see, how many diets have people tried and failed. But when you have the hope of the faith connection, and then you have the mental tools as well as showing up to do the physical, the 3 together give you the best success.
Wow. No, I think deep down we all know that, right? When one thing's off, the rest kind of seem off. Like we're not just a physical being, we're not just a mental being, we're not just a spiritual being, but we're kind of all 3, right?
Yes.
So you said something. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and the whole life part is the physical, the emotional, the mental, the professional, the financial. Like I do life counseling, so I work with all of it. So you might be a 10 in like your friendships, like socially you're great, but maybe your finances is a 4 and your physical health is a 7. So we look at what's the one you really are willing to work on, even if it's not the lowest one, like where are you ready to work in that area? And then we start to do a deeper dive in that area. So it's never all going to be a 10 at once, but if there's some really lacking areas, like you're just stay in the house all the time, you have no friends, then that's what we're kind of here for. Let's work on meeting
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. I remember one of my mentors one time, he talked about this analogy of, you have fires going at all times in your life, like in your uh physicality and your marriage and your finances and whatever. And like nothing can, like, something's always on fire no matter what. Like, you can't always put out all the fires. But you said something in your first response that I want to dive deeper into, because I personally struggle with this, and I think a lot of people listening probably do too, is like, is the path to this whole life wellness, does it start with your physicality and your body, right? Because I feel like at times in my life I've been like, you know what, if I just make some more money, like I'll be able to just pay for a trainer or pay for healthier food or just do those things. So I put all my efforts into making more money, but then I started to gain weight and I started to feel like crap and I didn't produce, right? So I'm curious, does it start with just being in good shape, or can it go backwards? I'm just curious on your perspective for that.
Yeah, well, when you can start with the physical, it does affect every other single area. In fact, if you look at, let's say, triathletes as an example of people who are ultra fit, their average income is $135,000. So there's obviously a connection between the physical discipline that it takes to be a triathlete and the discipline it takes to succeed, professionally, to manage financially. That doesn't mean they have good relationships or they get divorced any, more or less, but there's definitely a correspondence. It's kind of the new success, like just having money, but being overweight and having heart disease. And like that is not success. I mean, the new success really is kind of having all of it. Like I want a good marriage and I want to be fit and I want to, have fun and have investments growing and passive income. And so it depends where you're motivated to start, but people who are just motivated by money, it doesn't mean just because they can afford a trainer that they're gonna, be in cover model shape.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's so awesome to hear. I remember I was on a coaching call a couple of weeks ago and I talked about this with the person, and they're like, I mean, how are you going to make more money if you're out of shape and can't do anything? And I was like, light bulb, you know what I mean? It was just a really good perspective. So let's talk about this. Like, as you get older, I mean, I'm not by any means, no, I know everyone can't see me on here, but I'm not like, I'm not in my 60s or anything like that. But as we age, as we get older, um, like, are there any like hacks that you can, share with us, or best practices, or really, inside of this whole life wellness idea?
Totally. I am all about the hacks. One thing is a good morning and an evening routine. That totally sets your day up for success. So
Yeah.
when you bookend your day with good stuff, whatever happens in the middle is just a bonus. So if
Yeah.
you start your day, morning exercisers have the highest compliance rates. So for example, I don't get out of bed until I do at least 5 minutes of just quiet, intentional time where I'm saying affirmations and I'm doing some gratitude. And then I have motivational stuff going the whole time I'm doing my cardio. So whether I'm listening to motivational music or messages, sermons, it's nothing but positive that's coming in all the time. And then I'm doing my strength workout. Then I take some time to get ready in the morning so that I feel good. Like I want to show up and, I've got some lipstick on or whatever. Like I don't want to stay in my sweats all day, even if I can, even if no one knew, I'm still going to comb my hair because there's showing up like the Marines, like they're not going to show up all sloppy. You're just going to look good. I do have like warm water with lemon, then I do have a keto drink, and I titrate my day up. So I start with water with lemon and then the keto drink, which is really light. It's like 35 calories. And then the next thing I'll have might be a collagen drink. And then I'll go to like a green drink. And so I'm kind of working my way up. So I do intermittent fasting, which is another awesome hack. So that's kind of the morning routine. I'll review my goals. And then the end of the day, I'm setting a boundary on technology. So I'm not taking my phone to bed. I'm not looking at any lights or technology an hour before bed, and kind of leaving that state of awake so that you set your sleep up for success, because that's another hack, is to get good sleep. If you want to age well, you really need good quality deep sleep. So lavender candles are going, lavender oil. I do a page of gratitude every night where I just fill a whole page. I'm reading something every day. So I'm just doing everything I can to be a learner, to be grateful, to just have the best health that I can have. So whatever happens in the middle, it's like, okay, good. We had some meetings, we made some progress, all of that is good too. But I showed up with my brain good, healthy, feeling fit, strong core, and a great attitude.
So you know how to run your day. I mean, you have quite the morning routine there. I like it. I like it. So
I get up 2 hours before my first appointment.
yeah,
So yeah, it's a 2 hour morning routine and about an hour at night.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Um, okay. So in light of the global pandemic, right, which we still seem to be inside of at the time we're recording this audio anyway. It's early 2022. Um, have how has people's lives or people that you work with lives like been turned upside down, like inside of their health, inside of their well-being, inside of because I know like obviously we can all assume like, people's mental health went out the window when first and things came and physical health probably followed because we're all like shut up in our house and stuff like that. But I mean, now that we've been inside of this for almost like 2 years, like, are you seeing people rebounding? Are you seeing the same problems even getting worse? Like, I'm just curious, where do you see people at?
Yeah, I have a private Facebook group that I have for single women, divorced women, and I ask them, what is your greatest challenge as you're coming into this group? And by far, the number one thing is loneliness. People
Wow.
feel really disconnected, really isolated. They don't know how to connect with people. People are moving. There's a lot of people moving south right now and coming to Texas and Florida and Tennessee. So you have a lot of new people and they don't even know how to plug in, especially with everyone, wearing a mask or being so isolated in their homes. So yeah, that's a big issue. And you have to be so intentional. I mean, get on a meetup group, find your friends on Facebook, join whatever your hobby is, go do that, get outside, see your neighbors, get in nature, go painting, go shooting, whatever you like, go out and do that thing. There's really no reason that you can't do it as long as you're not really immunocompromised. Just you have to start getting out and being intentional, or it's not going to happen. I mean, be the friend that you want to have. So loneliness has definitely been, and the mental health, huge. I mean, we had a suicide today at the day of the recording that was pretty public and sad, of a young, beautiful person. I don't know if you saw Miss USA commit suicide today.
Oh, wow. I did not
Yeah,
know that.
yeah, unfortunately, she was in Manhattan and she went off a 29-foot balcony. An
Like the current
attorney,
sitting one, like the current Miss
yeah,
USA.
I know, 3 years ago, Miss
Oh,
USA.
okay, okay, okay.
She was Miss South Carolina, I believe. And
Wow.
then she won USA. And yeah, beautiful. She's an attorney. She's a host on an entertainment show. She's a humanitarian. She's got family around her. So it's like, wow, what is going on? I mean, what did she believe that she thought it was that hopeless that her life wasn't worth living? Obviously, it was something that wasn't true. I don't know her personally. I don't know what she was believing, but there was something she believed that just was not true, that she thought, this is too far gone. So yeah, mental health is definitely an issue. People should reach out for help if they're really having those thoughts.
Mm. Okay, well let's try to lift the spirit of this
Yeah, let's talk
show up
about
a little bit.
celebrating things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, let's not go too high. Let's not take everyone to like we got them down here, Kelly.
Okay.
Let's keep them. So, but that I mean that's a good thing. I mean I have a question here, because it resonates with me too. And it kind of goes along with the loneliness factor. Like, so putting the pandemic aside, like, why do you think in life in general, a lot of us just get stuck in a rut? Like, why do we fall into these patterns of being lonely, of not being able to talk to people, of isolating ourselves, even when we're in tons of Facebook groups and we have meetups and we have all these things? Like, is it just human nature, or are there certain behaviors that you see repeat themselves that you just see people get stuck in a rut all the time?
Social media has definitely contributed to the disconnectedness because people are constantly comparing. I mean, research shows if it's
Oh,
Friday night and I'm on social media and I see people eating out to dinner, even if I have a nice dinner at home that I made, I'm going to feel bad about myself because I'm not out eating like everyone else. Even if my food is good and delicious and I cooked it and I love it. So we're always comparing. So we're always going to feel that, lack because someone else is going to have something more and better and everyone's showing their best self. And you're just scrolling who got a new car, who's, on vacation, and you feel bad about your life. So when you do that, you start telling yourself like, oh, I'm not good enough to hang out with them, or especially after like divorce, when someone is single and everyone seems like they're couples, like your mind just tunes into what you're missing because it's just always in this natural survival mode.
Huh. Yeah. I mean, when you mentioned the Miss USA thing, like I honestly don't even watch the news or like TV much anymore. I have live TV now, so we can watch like football and the Super Bowl, but like after the Super Bowl, I cancel it. But that was one thing that I noticed, that I used to watch so much news that it was just so depressing and so gloomy, and everything was negative, and Trump this and Biden that and blah blah blah, and it was just terrible. And like I've never been just so like relieved, and like it's just not another like people don't realize how much mental stress you can get up, you can kick ass in the morning, do all your stuff like Kelly does, but then you consume social media and you consume the news, and then you listen to people at work, and then you like it's like putting one brick at a time on your mind, and it's like you imprison yourself,
For
right?
sure. Yeah, no,
Like
I haven't watched the news in 35 years, but I do catch stuff on social media. And so that
yeah.
was a big one today. But when I am assaulted by the news, if I'm in an airport or at my mom's house and it's on, I'm like, oh my goodness, like I could totally see why people are so afraid. I can see why people are in such fear and depression. Like, turn that off. Because I don't watch it, I'm like hypersensitive, like, oh my God, it is so sensational and so emotional. I'm like, and people just listen to it chronically. I'm like, no wonder people are just afraid out of their minds. No one wants to go out and live and explore and try anything new. 95% of what you do after the age of 35 is habitual already, which is sad. I mean, we do so little different from our routines. So when you look at the nonsense of all the fear that's been put into people, it's like, wow, it's like Groundhog Day every day.
Yeah.
Sad.
Wow, I didn't know that about 35. Well, like, luckily I got a few years to
Yeah, you're
figure my
good.
stuff out. So, okay. All right. So let's shift gears a little bit here and talk about, we mentioned earlier, the divorce coach side of your prolific skill set. So I mean, obviously I feel like I'm not up on the current stats, but I feel like the pandemic probably ended tons of marriages too. I remember that was a big story in the news back when I used to watch it. Like it was like,
Yeah.
oh, now these couples have to stay home and they realize they don't like each other, which
Yeah.
is like the most mind-boggling thing to me, that just like, oh, okay. Anyway, so tell us, like, what kind of stuff have you seen? What kind of things do you work with inside of that?
Yeah, so COVID did a couple things. The couples that were good and strong had a great foundation. It made them better because they really did want to be, together more and do stuff more. And people, went on RV trips and they loved it. But the couples that were already kind of shaky before, maybe one had one foot out the door, they didn't love each other, those definitely contributed to higher divorce numbers. So less people are getting married since COVID, and not just because they can't get a wedding venue, but they're just not. The word prenuptial agreement has had the most searches in the last 2 years than
Wow,
ever. It went up like 190%.
that's
So people are
crazy.
looking at prenuptial agreements. People are getting married later. The ones who are getting married, the number one age for divorce is 30, and the number two age for divorce is 50. Because what happened with the younger ones is they had not been through a whole lot of stuff yet. So you put them in a pandemic, it was hard versus the people who've been married, 20, 30 years, like they've been through some stuff. So they can kind of handle hard things. So those were, and also marriage used to be 50-50 with a woman or a man who filed. Now it's 78% women. So those were a couple of the things that happened because of COVID. Well, they thought the husbands were going to come home and help, and they didn't.
And
So
what does that say about our society, that 80% of divorces are filed by women? You know, that tells me that men suck. Like we suck. We're not showing up as men, as husbands, right? What does that tell you?
yeah, yeah, that's definitely and a problem. I mean, so the number one need that everyone has is to be unconditionally loved. We just want to be loved for who we are. Like, don't try and change me, don't coach me, don't. I just want to be loved for who I am. The number one need that a woman has is security. She wants to know that she's secure with her man. He's, providing. He just has eyes for her. He's going to protect the kids. And then the man's number one need is to be respected. She wants to know my woman totally, he wants to know my woman totally respects me. And so what happens is if he starts doing things that make her feel insecure, she'll start to disrespect him because she's feeling insecure. He starts feeling disrespected. He's going to start going off and doing some crazier stuff. And then she's less secure. And it just gets into like this ugly, vicious cycle. And if you can see it from like the 100,000, the 10,000 foot view, it's like, oh, I see what was happening there, but we don't know it when we're in it. So yeah, if the guy does go do something and the woman's like, where is he? Why isn't he home? Why is he in the basement for so many hours? Why can't I look at his phone? What? Then she, that kind of rises up in her to get suspicious. So that's something that can start a bad cycle. And it just takes communication on both parts and really a desire. But once someone definitely is divorced, I mean, my first goal is to save a marriage if it's possible. If one of them at least loves the other one and they can work on themselves, there's a chance the other one may come along because they see the other person getting healthier. But if it's not possible because it's not healthy or they're already divorced when they come to me, I work on them being the best version of themselves. So it's like, okay, let's look at who are you now as a single person? You're not identified as a wife or a husband anymore. But as a single person, can you be whole and happy by yourself? What about forgiveness? That's a big deal. No one likes to talk about it, but if you're not forgiving the past, you're going to stay bitter and angry and depressed. And I mean, you could feel it when someone walks in the room who's a scorned man or woman. It's like, ooh, that's heavy. So if we talk about forgiveness, renewing your mind, because you keep just replaying the past over and over and over in your brain. And that's not helpful. That's keeping you in, just feeling the sadness and resentment from the past and guilt about the past. We talk about purpose because you still have a purpose on your life and you may need to find a new one. Health. We talk about wealth because the number one group for poverty is single women, single moms, so that they can, go out and provide and make money and invest and all that. And then just creating a whole new life that you can have fun and celebrate and, still laugh again.
Oh, wow. Maybe I need to spend less time in the basement working and spend more time with my wife.
That's a good idea.
That's crazy. Interesting. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about the title of the show, Running Your Day, right? When it comes to holistic life, health, wellness, or being married or possibly even divorced, how do you design like a life that like you love, that when you wake up, you're like, yes, like I'm ready to go, instead of like, shit, I don't want to get up, so how do you go about that?
Well, one of the exercises that I do with my clients is, let's imagine we're best friends. And let's say today was April 15th, 2022, but really it's April 15th, 2023. And we haven't seen each other in a year. And so we're going to talk about the last year as if it's already happened. And, I might be like, oh my goodness, Dan, I finally got that house on the lake that I've always wanted. I met the man of my dreams. We're so happy. He loves my kids. I'm aging backward. I'm talking about the year as if it already happened. And then you start to work backwards from that. Like, okay, if you really want that house on the lake, what's it going to take? What, deposit are you going to need? Do you have to start going out on the weekends looking at houses? Do you have to find a realtor? So you get really detailed about that. And then I have them create a vision board where they have a visual that they can look at. So they have those things on there, and then they start putting steps and they work backwards. And okay, if I'm going to, take this vacation to Turks and Caicos in the summer, what does that look like? Okay, I'm going to call a travel agent. And then you start with the steps. So you get excited to wake up and go, okay, I'm not going to Turks and Caicos today, but I'm going to look at resorts today, and I'm going to put another $500 towards the trip when I get paid on Friday. So it helps them to start dreaming again and working towards it. And then the gratitude at night really is a superpower. So when I decided that I was not going to go to bed every night until I filled a page, and it's not a little page, it's a big page with gratitude, I started going throughout my day looking for things to be thankful for. So I was like, okay, you have to fill that page tonight. Like, okay, oh my goodness, like I got to talk to Dan today. Not everyone gets to do that. How cool that I got to be on Dan's show. And I got to watch my son play baseball today. And so you just start going throughout your day like, all right, I better find things to be grateful for. And what happened was I started receiving all kinds of stuff because I was putting an attitude of gratitude out there. People started to like give me stuff, and I started to track it. And I'm not kidding. It will be hundreds of thousands of dollars before a year is over. I'm like, wow, someone just bought me lunch today, or someone sent me a book or some, and it's like, someone's like, hey, you want to go to my Airbnb for the weekend? It's open. And because I was out there being thankful for everyone else, stuff just started coming to me and it just created this whole flow. So you wake up excited. You're like, okay, what am I going to be grateful for? And then I'm looking for things to come. Like I turn my receiver on, like what's coming to me, and I expect it to be good.
That's so awesome. I love that. I mean, it reminds me of actually, I'll just add a little piece to this, of a mastermind group I was in last week. And the guy said something that it just really reminded me of what you talked about there. It was, don't focus on the outcome, focus on the action. Like I feel like so much of us are like that. We say we have these vision boards, we have these 1 year goals, and then we just like we're trained to just think about that. Like just picture the house. That's your why. Picture the money. That's your why. But it's like what you do. You just do the action. You're not thinking about getting lunch bought for you. You're not thinking about getting an Airbnb given to you for the week. Like that stuff just happens because you're doing the action, right? And you're disciplined in doing the action. Man, when he said that, I was like, man, there's a lot of like, I can just see in my life a lot of time I got stuck in this place of like just being so focused on the outcome and ignore, and I knew what I needed to do, but I wasn't like committed to the action, you know? So that was just my 2 cents I wanted to add to
No,
that.
it's good. It's good. We're always going to fall to the level of our habits too. So if you get in the habit of taking the small steps every day, that's where the compound effect, the ripple effect comes from. Just, going and joining the gym, getting the tennis shoes, like start somewhere. There was a guy who lost over 100 pounds that started going to the gym 5 minutes a day. And his thing was, I'm going to be the guy who shows up. And he did that for months, just for 5 minutes. And then eventually, he's like, all right, I think I do 10 now. And he started to up it, but you can start small. Another thing I do for my day where I'm excited to get up is I pre-decide my day. So for example, I want to have peace all the time. I don't ever want to lose my peace. My peace is too expensive. So I go out into my day deciding, like, if someone cuts me off, like, I don't know what's going on in his or her life, like, that's on them. Go ahead, get in front of me. I'm good. If someone comes in yelling at me, I'm like, I don't know what's going on in her day, but that, I'm keeping my peace. So I just pre-decide, like, it's not worth me being angry and chaos, outrage. It's just not. So I decide to stay in peace, which now allows space to be excited because I'm
Yeah.
not confused. I'm not angry. I'm not sad and depressed. So it's just a pre-decision. If someone offends me, why am I so easily offendable? First of all, if I do something that offends someone else, I'll be quick to apologize, so because I don't want to carry any of that stuff on me. Just
Yeah.
not worth it.
If we are offended, and that's, I wish you could teach the whole world that lesson. If you're offended, it's your fault. Like there's something that you need to deal with internally there. Anyway, all right. So we're getting down to the end here. I told you I had a surprise. So what I do for all the guests is I give them the chance to ask me a question. Any question about running a day, about whatever. And I don't tell you previously, so you have no idea. You can't plan anything. So if you feel put on the spot, don't feel bad about it.
No.
Fire away. Ask me anything.
Okay. So tell me about your fitness program.
My fitness program, my current
Yeah.
fitness program
Yes.
that
2022.
I do in 2022.
Yes. Yeah.
Shit, it's not going to be a very long answer. I've actually not done a whole lot yet. It's the end of January here. It's the last day. So I do not do a whole lot. I was a big runner. That was always my big thing. I created a fitness and running app. But I don't know. It's just, it's been, again, that's kind of why I wanted to like ask you earlier about like the cart before the horse type of deal of, being more fit or making more money or focusing more on things and whatever. It's funny because like right behind me, this wall right behind me here is my workout room where I got like a punching bag, I got a weight bench, we got the whole TV set up with like the beach body workouts and all that stuff. And I think I've worked out like twice maybe this whole month.
That's honest.
So yeah, it's not good. It's not good right now. But I wake up probably between 5 and 5:30 every day and I walk my dog or we run. So we jog. It's not very far, but it's kind of like the guy going for 5 minutes a day. I'm like, and I give my dog credit. He sits there by my bed and he whines. He's like, Dan, and I'm like, go away. And he's like, no, we got to go for a walk. And I'm like, okay. So he keeps me accountable.
So do I get to ask a second question?
Sure. Go
So
ahead.
what's your February fitness plan?
To turn this around. Yes. I really do. I was actually going to sell my punching bag because I don't use it anymore. But it's actually one thing that I really, really do love. It's therapeutic too. I tell my wife to use it because sometimes she comes home all like mad and I'm like, go punch the punching bag. She's like, no. But that's kind of my plan, is to get back into, at least, and it's just like that. It's like starting small, whether it's just walking or running or stretching, and then just hitting the punching bag for 5-10 minutes or something like that, to break a sweat. I have a treadmill out in my garage, which I want to bring inside because it's cold outside in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
But I don't have anyone to help me bring it down, so it's just kind of stuck in my garage for now. But that is my plan, to get back into it. I have definitely slacked lately.
All right. Well, when your buddies come over for the Super Bowl, have them help you carry the treadmill down.
Yeah. Well, good question. You got me. No one's ever asked me that one. So good question. Good question, Kelly.
Maybe go full circle and invite your wife to exercise with you. Now you're getting a little dating in there too.
Yeah, that's a
fit
good
together.
idea as well. Yeah, for sure.
A nighttime workout.
Yeah, awesome.
morning.
Okay, so let's wrap this up, Kelly. Where can people go to learn more about you or connect with you in a better way?
They could go to my website. It's Kelly with an I, Callibrese.com. I do answer every single email. So if they want to email me, I would love to hear from them. It's Kelly at KelliCalabrese.com. And yeah, I'd love to connect with your listeners.
Absolutely. And that is Kelly, Kelli, my friend. So it'll be in the show notes here beneath this episode. So, well, that is all we have time for, Kelly. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Do you have anything else to add before we sign off?
Yeah, go out and celebrate life. Just go and have some fun. Be intentional about making sure you've got some celebrations built in between the work and all the other stuff.
Very good advice. Very good advice. All right. Thank you so much, Kelly. We appreciate it. That is a wrap for this show, my friends. Thank you again for joining. We really appreciate it. As always, you can download the Run Your Day podcast app where this podcast is hosted for now. And yeah, that's about all we got for this one. All right, my friends, I will talk to you guys next time. Make it a great rest of your day. Hey, my friend, before you check out from this episode, I have something very awesome to tell you. If you haven't already, you need to download the Run Your Day app right now. It's absolutely amazing and will change your freaking life. It is the official app of this podcast. Now, you might be a regular listener of the show, or maybe you're new to the podcast. And either way, I want you to actually start implementing the things that you hear me talk about on this podcast every single day. I'm going to quote something for you here. Revelation without implementation is simply masturbation, my friend. Yes, I said it. So don't be that guy. Download the Run Your Day app now from either the Apple App Store or Google Play. Or, you know what? Even if you boycott both of those stores for some reason, you can access the same app at app.runyourdaypodcast.com. That's app.runyourdaypodcast.com. No download required. We got guided meditations, self-guided chat journeys, which are super freaking cool. And they actually help you run your day and figure out your mental blocks. So it's something you can't afford to miss out on. So please do yourself a favor, do me a favor, and download the Run Your Day app on your phone and take this experience to the next level. I'll see you there.